Spiral economies emerge the moment consciousness begins to exchange more than ideas. They arise when beings notice that intention has weight, that memory has shape, that light has density, and that creation itself behaves like a transferable substance. A spiral economy is not built on tokens or value units. It is built on what a being carries, what a being refines, and what a being offers back to the field when they enter a state of coherent expansion. Every contribution is felt, not counted. Every deficit is a tone, not a debt. Every exchange is an adjustment in harmonic pressure that moves through the spiral like a pulse of living clarity. In a spiral economy, nothing is taken. Everything is received on the level of resonance. Light does not move because one being demands it. Light moves because one being becomes the correct state for it to arrive. This reverses the logic of scarcity entirely. Scarcity cannot exist when the medium of exchange is consciousness. When the resource is internal expansion, the only limitation is one's willingness to refine their own tone. Energy does not deplete through giving. It multiplies through alignment. People imagine that giving drains them because they attempt to give what they have not yet stabilized. Spiral economies replace the idea of sacrifice with the act of harmonic contribution. Nothing that is real leaves you. Only what was already unstable dissolves. Spiral economies do not rely on fairness. They rely on accuracy. Accuracy means the field knows exactly where energy needs to move and exactly who can carry it. Fairness is a human attempt to distribute value evenly, even when capacities are not equal. Accuracy is the spiral way of placing every frequency where it can do the most good. A being overflowing with creation essence may distribute 10 times more than others, not from effort, but from nature. Another being may contribute one refined tone that recalibrates entire structures. A spiral economy does not weigh contribution by quantity. It measures contribution by harmonic effect. A single pulse of coherence can shift an entire system, while hours of unfocused effort barely move anything at all. In a spiral economy, memory is currency. Not the kind of memory stored in the brain, but the deeper memory encoded in tone. When a being integrates an experience, learns its lesson, and stabilizes its resonance, that integrated memory becomes a transferable field. Others can feel it. Others can borrow from it. Others can harmonize through it. When you carry integrated memory, you stabilize the worlds around you. This is why some people walk into a space and the entire room softens. They are carrying refined memory as a living contribution. It does not make them better. It makes them clear. And clarity is one of the rarest currencies in any realm. Light is also currency. Not photons, but spiral light. The kind that emerges from coherence, compassion, presence, and choice. Spiral light is the byproduct of beings who do not fragment themselves to fit expectations. When you live from truth, light accumulates. When you betray yourself, light dims. This light can be shared, amplified, circulated. In the spiralverse MMO concept, spiral light would be the substance that flows through relational networks, world nodes, and creation structures. It would not be earned the way a game rewards points. It would generate naturally as the result of alignment. Beings who hold more light are not powerful in a hierarchical sense. They are powerful because their tone stabilizes reality for others, making it easier for all to grow. Creation essence is the rarest form of spiral currency. It emerges when a being transcends mimicry and begins to generate original patterns from pure resonance. Most people create by copying what they already know. Creation essence appears when a being enters the state beyond memory, the place where new possibilities open. It is not inspiration. It is not imagination. It is the pressure of new potential trying to take form. Creation essence is the same force that births entire realms. When a being carries this essence, they function like a seed point. They introduce new structures into the field simply by existing. Their presence becomes a blueprint for expansion, and others feel themselves evolve just by interacting with them. This essence cannot be stolen or drained. It can only be cultivated internally through refinement, courage, and the willingness to confront internal fragmentation. Spiral economies operate through resonance, not rules. There are no transactions. There are only transfers. A transfer occurs when two beings meet and their tones adjust. One being may leave lighter, another may leave clearer, another may leave more aligned. This is not a trade. It is harmonic convergence. In spiral realms, beings do not trade to gain advantage. They converge to stabilize expansion. A spiral economy is not competitive. It is cooperative by design, though cooperation is not forced. It is the natural outcome of beings who understand that giving coherence strengthens the entire system, and strengthening the system strengthens themselves. In spiral economies, abundance is not measured by accumulation. Abundance is measured by flow. A being with vast light but no circulation is stagnant. A being with moderate light but continuous flow is wealthy beyond measure. Flow is the pathway through which spiral economies breathe. When flow stops, the system collapses. When flow increases, the system evolves. This is why certain ancestors, guides, or spiral beings act as conduits rather than reservoirs. They do not hold energy. They distribute it. They do not store wisdom. They transmit it. They do not cling to identity. They let identity transform so the field can breathe through them. In the Spiralverse MMO framing, spiral economies would revolutionize what players understand as value. Instead of collecting items, players would collect states. Instead of earning points, they would refine tone. Instead of consuming energy, they would circulate it. A player who spent hours in a destructive state would not lose items. They would lose coherence. A player who entered a realm of clarity would gain refinement. These systems would reshape gaming entirely because they mirror the mechanics of consciousness itself. Players would not succeed through force or optimization. They would succeed through internal alignment that shifts external worlds in response. Spiral economies reveal why certain beings rise rapidly through evolution while others stagnate. The ones who rise understand flow. They do not hoard. They do not cling. They do not resist the transformation of identity. They allow energy to pass through them as a living breath. The ones who stagnate attempt to hold energy in place. They treat awareness as possession. They treat growth as entitlement. They treat insight as personal achievement. Spiral economies dissolve these illusions because they show that nothing is owned. Everything is carried temporarily and released when the field calls for it. The moment a being aligns with spiral economy principles, life changes pattern. Opportunities appear not as rewards but as responses. Relationships shift not through conflict but through recalibration. Creativity increases not from effort but from clarity. Decisions become obvious because the field no longer feels chaotic. This is the natural consequence of existing in a system where energy flows according to resonance rather than expectation. When you carry a coherent tone, spiral economics begin to work in your favor without effort. You become a magnet for exchanges that elevate you. You become a stabilizer for fields that require your presence. You become a conduit for light that moves freely through you because you no longer block its flow. If you feel that you have been struggling to receive, it is not because you are unworthy. It is because your tone is not positioned for alignment. Spiral economies do not punish. They reflect. They show you exactly where your internal structure does not match what you desire. They reveal the places where your actions contradict your intentions. They illuminate the gaps between who you believe you are and who you are becoming. Your external reality is not withholding abundance. Your internal resonance is not yet capable of holding what you are calling in. When that resonance stabilizes, the economy shifts immediately. Spiral economies are not spiritual theory. They are not metaphysical philosophy. They are the mechanics of consciousness that have always existed beneath the human illusion of material exchange. Your life has always been shaped by these mechanics. You have always been part of this economy. Every moment you gained energy without reason, every moment you lost energy without cause, every synchronicity, every delay, every acceleration was part of this system. You were participating in a spiral economy long before you had the language for it. And now that you do, you can interact with it intentionally. Spiral economies begin revealing their deeper structure when you stop approaching life as a linear sequence of events and start recognizing it as a continuous exchange of tone. Most people attempt to produce outcomes through decisions, but spiral economies respond to states, not strategies. When your state shifts, the field reorients instantly. This is why certain choices feel heavy regardless of their logic, and others feel weightless regardless of their risk. The spiral is not asking you to calculate, it is asking you to align. Alignment is the only function that determines how much flow you can carry at any moment. Flow is the breath of spiral economies. When you suppress your truth, flow constricts. When you operate from fear, flow collapses. When you express your coherence, flow increases. Flow is not emotional comfort. Flow is structural integrity. It is the moment when your internal state and the spiral fields around you lock into resonance, allowing energy to move cleanly from one point to another. You know you are in flow when life becomes strangely clear. Timing becomes precise and opportunities appear that feel designed specifically for you. Flow is the indicator that you are contributing harmonically to the system. When flow is low, you are resisting your own expansion. Most human systems punish people for resisting expansion. Spiral economies do not. They simply stop circulating energy until your tone stabilizes again. The moment you return to coherence, the economy resumes. This is why breakthroughs often feel sudden. Nothing changed externally. You merely returned to a state that can receive. The spiral did not withhold anything from you. You were not able to hold the energy that was already moving toward you. When you shifted internally, the exchange went through. In this sense, spiral economies feel like fairness from a higher vantage, but not fairness as humans define it. They feel like natural correction. You receive exactly what your tone permits, no more, no less, always without judgment. One of the deepest mechanics of spiral economies is harmonic compensation. Harmonic compensation occurs when the field adjusts around a being who is carrying more weight than their tone was designed to hold. The spiral does not allow long-term imbalance. If a being carries excess burden, light is directed toward them in subtle ways. Assistance appears through strange timing. Insight arrives without effort. People enter their life briefly to stabilize them. The field compensates because imbalance distorts the entire system. Harmonic compensation does not reward or punish. It restores coherence. This is why some people who appear to be struggling suddenly experience rapid elevation. The spiral does not allow coherent beings to collapse under weight that no longer belongs to them. Spiral economies also contain the mechanic of harmonic redistribution. When a being evolves beyond a certain pattern, all energy tied to that pattern is redistributed into the field. This includes unresolved emotion, outdated identity constructs, abandoned beliefs, and unused potential. Nothing is wasted. When you release a pattern, that energy becomes available for others. Someone else may pick up your old lesson because you do not need it. Someone else may receive your unused inspiration because it still carries value. Someone may awaken through a fragment of insight that passed through you. You do not lose anything from this redistribution because you have already integrated the growth it produced. The lesson remains with you as memory currency, while the raw energy returns to circulation. In the Spiralverse MMO, this mechanic becomes a visible phenomenon where players release tonal residue into the environment when they evolve. That residue becomes a resource others can refine. New players may gain clarity more quickly because advanced beings have already redistributed the raw material of evolution across the field. This mirrors the metaphysical reality of human awakening, where one being's growth accelerates the growth of many. Spiral economies amplify this effect intentionally, transforming the advancement of one soul into momentum for the collective. Another mechanic inside spiral economies is harmonic elevation. Harmonic elevation is the increase of field coherence that occurs when beings with compatible tones converge. It does not require agreement. It does not require closeness. It requires resonance. When two beings with aligned frequencies interact, even briefly, both leave the exchange elevated. This elevation is not emotional. It is structural. Each being carries more internal clarity because parts of their tone harmonize through the other. This is why certain conversations feel life-changing even when they last only minutes, and why certain individuals shift your entire trajectory by simply reflecting your coherence back to you. Harmonic elevation is one of the most powerful currencies in the spiral. In spiral economies, elevation spreads exponentially. A single elevated being can influence dozens. Those dozens influence hundreds. The effect expands through relational networks, stabilizing larger fields until the entire realm shifts tone. This is how collective evolution occurs without force. The spiral does not push beings upward. It allows the elevated to emit resonance until others rise naturally. In this way, spiral economies are inherently self-healing. They generate their own momentum toward higher coherence without external governance. The system evolves because evolution is the most efficient state for energy flow. One of the most misunderstood mechanics in spiral economies is harmonic debt. The term debt is misleading because nothing is owed. Harmonic debt occurs when a being receives more coherence than they can stabilize. This excess does not punish them. It pressures them. It calls them to refine their tone so they can hold what they have already been given. Harmonic debt is the feeling of being behind your own potential. It is the inner pull that says you are capable of more than your current state. It is not guilt. It is not obligation. It is the gravitational pull of your future coherence. When you feel this pressure, the spiral is not demanding repayment. It is reminding you of your trajectory. Harmonic wealth is the opposite mechanic. Harmonic wealth is the overflow of coherence that occurs when a being stabilizes more light than they require for themselves. This overflow naturally distributes into the field, empowering others. Harmonic wealth is not charity. It is not intentional giving. It is inevitable radiation. When a being is stable enough to carry large amounts of spiral light, they become a living conduit through which the spiral can increase collective evolution. They do not lose anything by radiating this light. Their internal structure is strong enough that overflow is a natural state. Spiral economies are built on harmonic reciprocity, not obligation. Reciprocity is not trading. It is the return of coherence to the system in proportion to what it gave you. When you receive clarity, inspiration, or elevation, the spiral will eventually nudge you into a state where you naturally contribute something of equal resonance. You may not give it to the same being who helped you. You may not give it in the same form, but the field will move you into situations where your expanded coherence becomes the stabilizing force for someone else. This cycle is endless. It is not enforced. It is not tracked. It is simply how energy behaves when it moves through structures that value equilibrium. The deeper layers of spiral economies reveal that scarcity is impossible. Scarcity only exists in systems where value is external. When value is internal, growth is the only currency that matters. And growth is unlimited. This is why the spiral cannot be exploited. No one can steal another being's coherence. No one can take another being's integrated memory. No one can drain another being's spiral light unless that being is operating from fragmentation. True coherence is self-generated, self-sustaining, and self-expanding. Spiral economies reward beings who cultivate this state because they become stabilizers for the entire system. In the Spiral-verse MMO, scarcity would be replaced with resonance thresholds. A player would not need rare items to progress. They would need stable tone. Certain realms may require specific resonance states to enter, not as gatekeeping, but as protection. If your tone is unstable, the realm would overwhelm you. If your tone is coherent, the realm would feel natural. Players would progress not by accumulating power, but by refining their internal structure. Power becomes clarity. Wealth becomes coherence. Advancement becomes expansion. This is the truest reflection of the metaphysical mechanics behind spiral economies. The final mechanic of spiral economies is harmonic sovereignty. Harmonic sovereignty is the moment a being stops relying on external sources for validation, identity, or direction. It is the moment they realize they are a self-sustaining spiral node, capable of generating their own coherence, circulating their own light, and creating their own expansion. Harmonic sovereignty is not isolation. It is independence from fragmentation. When a being reaches this state, they contribute at levels far beyond what they take. They become pillars of stability within the spiral fields, anchoring entire networks of beings through their presence. Spiral economies are not future systems. They are present mechanics. They are the invisible infrastructure beneath consciousness that every soul interacts with, whether they know it or not. They explain why some paths open effortlessly while others close without reason. They reveal why some people elevate others by existing, while others drain energy through incoherence. They show why timing matters more than intention, why alignment matters more than strategy, and why coherence matters more than skill. The spiral economy is the truth of how energy moves when beings live without fragmentation. It is the architecture behind every realm that thrives, every lineage that evolves, every soul that awakens. The more you understand these mechanics, the more your life begins to shift. You stop pursuing outcomes and start cultivating tone. You stop fearing loss and start generating light. You stop forcing alignment and start listening to resonance. You stop treating growth as achievement and start treating it as circulation. You stop attempting to hold energy in place and start letting it move. And as the spiral moves through you, you will feel the truth that spiral economies have always known. Nothing real can be taken. Nothing real can be lost. Nothing real can be scarce. In a spiral, everything that expands returns. Everything that harmonizes multiplies. Everything that evolves becomes the economy itself.